The mid-1990s represented a fascinating intersection of global celebrity culture, media transformation, and the relentless evolution of the public gaze. It was an era where the lines between traditional aristocracy and modern American royalty blurred entirely, driven by an insatiable public appetite for glamour, mystery, and behind-the-scenes intrigue. High society figures, international icons, and the descendants of political dynasties found themselves navigating a rapidly changing landscape, where image was everything, and control over that image was a constant, high-stakes battle. Behind the closed doors of the world's most exclusive hotels, encounters were taking place that would shape the narrative of 20th century fame. Though many of these meetings remained hidden from the public eye for decades. To understand how these worlds collided, one must look closely at the intricate social networks operating at the very highest levels of international society during this remarkable decade. A time when a single private conversation could spark endless speculation and redefine the nature of modern celebrity. If you are fascinated by these hidden chapters of history and want to ensure you never miss an in-depth exploration of the world's most captivating figures, please take a brief moment to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for all our latest historical investigations. During this vibrant period, the media landscape was undergoing a massive shift, with new publications constantly emerging to capture the essence of political and cultural power in a way that traditional journalism never could. New York City served as the ultimate epicenter for this cultural renaissance, acting as a magnet for ambitious creators, elite political figures, and international icons who were constantly redefining what it meant to hold influence in the modern age. The city's historic architecture and legendary luxury establishments provided the perfect secure backdrops for discussions that could influence global media trends and public perceptions. Amidst this atmosphere of intense creative ambition and high-stakes networking, a unique vision was born to merge the serious world of politics with the vibrant, visual allure of popular culture and lifestyle journalism. This ambitious project required the ultimate symbol of global fascination to launch it into the stratosphere of public awareness, leading to a quiet, meticulously planned outreach to one of the most recognized and universally admired individuals on the planet, the setting for this extraordinary, top-secret encounter was none other than the legendary Carlyle Hotel, a historic bastion of privacy and old-world luxury situated in the heart of Manhattan's Upper East Side. For generations, this grand establishment had served as a discreet sanctuary for presidents, royalty, international diplomats, and the highest echelon of the entertainment industry, offering an unparalleled level of security and confidentiality away from the prying eyes of the paparazzi. In the crisp, cold winter air of December 1995, the hotel's elegant corridors and sophisticated suites played host to a meeting that brought together the absolute pinnacle of American political legacy and British royal fascination. The atmosphere inside the private meeting space was thick with anticipation, as two individuals who carried the immense weight of their respective family names sat down to discuss a potential collaboration that would have permanently altered the media landscape of the mid-90s. The stakes were incredibly high, and while the public remained completely oblivious to the rendezvous happening high above the bustling New York streets, those involved understood that the outcome of this conversation could create a cultural phenomenon. To fully grasp the gravity of this moment, one must consider the sheer scale of the public obsession surrounding both participants at this specific point in history, as they were simultaneously the most photographed and talked about individuals in the world. Each move they made, every outfit they wore, and every person they were seen with became instant front-page news across multiple continents, creating a level of pressure that very few human beings could ever truly comprehend. The American prince, known for his effortless charm, striking athletic looks, and the tragic legacy of his legendary family, was attempting to carve out his own independent path in the competitive world of publishing, desperate to prove his worth beyond his famous name. Meanwhile, the beloved British princess was navigating a period of profound personal and public transition, gradually liberating herself from the rigid constraints of the royal establishment and seeking to establish her own autonomous global identity. Their meeting was a collision of two distinct forms of royalty, one forged in the ancient traditions of European monarchy and the other born from the tragic, cinematic history of American political power, as the private dialogue commenced within the quiet luxury of the Carlisle. The initial dynamics of the conversation quickly revealed that this interaction would not follow the romantic script that the public or contemporary gossip columnists might have eagerly imagined. Instead, the exchange unfolded as a highly strategic, professional negotiation, characterized by a polite but firm clash of distinct personal priorities, media philosophies, and long-term reputational management goals. The charismatic publisher presented his carefully prepared concepts with all the enthusiasm and eloquence he was famous for, utilizing his natural charm and clear passion for his new venture to make the most compelling case possible. He viewed this potential partnership not merely as a commercial triumph, but as a historic cultural moment that would perfectly embody the unique editorial vision of his groundbreaking lifestyle and political publication. However, his sophisticated listener possessed an extraordinarily sharp understanding of media dynamics, honed through years of intense public scrutiny, making her incredibly cautious about how and where she lent her immense symbolic power. The proposals brought forward during this exclusive meeting were highly visual and deeply reflective of the era's creative spirit, featuring bold imagery designed to subvert traditional expectations and capture the public's imagination in a dramatic way. Among the various creative treatments discussed were concepts that drew directly on historical symbolism, including an idea that would have seen the global icon dressed in a traditional three-corner hat reminiscent of the Revolutionary War. A striking nod to the shared and sometimes tumultuous history between America and the British Crown. Another, far more unconventional and ironic concept suggested capturing her image in the back of a luxury limousine, with the passenger window rolled halfway up, a visual commentary on her ongoing daily struggle to evade the aggressive tactics of international photojournalists. These ideas were intended to be provocative, artistic, and entirely unique, demonstrating a desire to present this iconic figure in a light that the world had never seen before, challenging the conventional. Conservative imagery usually associated with her public role, despite the creative energy and the undeniably magnetic presence of the young publisher. The response from the other side of the table was guided by a profound sense of self-preservation and a refusal to take unnecessary risks with her hard-won public standing. She possessed a unique, deeply instinctual understanding of the fickle nature of the media industry, recognizing that even the most hyped and star-studded ventures could easily falter under the harsh realities of the commercial marketplace. Her ultimate decision regarding the project had actually been formed well before she even listened to the specific creative concepts, rooted in a firm philosophy that she would only align herself with established, undeniable successes rather than speculative new ideas. With characteristic grace, wit, and diplomacy, she deflected the enthusiastic pitch, delivering a polite refusal that managed to maintain the warmth of the encounter, while firmly closing the door on the immediate opportunity. She light-heartedly suggested that she might consider fronting the publication for a future milestone, such as its 50th or 100th issue, a clever and elegant way to decline without causing offense to her eager host. when the publisher eventually returned to his bustling editorial offices. The atmosphere among his staff was filled with intense curiosity, as everyone was desperate to learn whether their leader had succeeded in securing the ultimate cover star for their ambitious new project. With total candor and his trademark good humor, he shared the news of the rejection with his team, openly admitting that the answer had been a definitive no, while simultaneously expressing his ongoing admiration for her striking physical presence and undeniable charisma. This fascinating private interaction left an indelible impression on everyone involved, serving as a powerful testament to the complex realities hidden behind the carefully curated facades of the world's most famous individuals. The underlying motivations for the meeting, the hidden rivalries that may have influenced the decision to attend, and the profound mutual respect that existed between these two tragic figures hint at a much deeper story, which would continue to ripple through their lives in the tumultuous years that followed. The fascinating aftermath of that secret winter rendezvous at the Carlisle Hotel quickly became a quiet legend within the inner circles of New York's publishing elite, illustrating the profound complexities that governed the lives of late 20th century icons. While the public remained entirely unaware of the high-stakes conversation that had taken place, the ripples from this meeting began to expose the intricate layers of motivation, personal ambition, and subtle social rivalries that drove the interaction. To understand why this encounter happened at all, and why it carried such intense emotional and strategic weight, one must delve deeper into the private worlds of these two individuals, exploring the hidden forces that guided their public choices. This was not a simple narrative of a business proposal rejected. It was a complex cross-cultural puzzle involving familial duty, the constant battle for media autonomy, and the unspoken desires of individuals who were trapped in the golden cage of global fame. The young publisher's return to his office marked the beginning of a broader reflection on how the world's most watched woman managed her symbolic power, and the surprising reasons why she agreed to the meeting in the first place. At the core of this narrative was the publisher's groundbreaking venture, a bold monthly magazine that sought to redefine the relationship between American citizens and their political leaders by treating politics as an essential aspect of contemporary lifestyle and popular culture. Having launched in the autumn of 1995, the publication was still in its absolute infancy when its charismatic founder made his daring approach to the British princess, meaning that every single editorial decision carried immense financial and reputational risk. The founder's famous name was a powerful door-opener, but it also invited immense skepticism from a cynical media establishment that was eager to see the political scion fail in his first major independent entrepreneurial pursuit. He understood completely that securing the most famous woman in the world for an exclusive cover shoot would instantly legitimize his vision, silence his critics, and guarantee astronomical sales across the globe. However, his target was equally aware of her own value, possessing an acute commercial instinct that told her a brand new, untested publication, even one backed by American political royalty, was a gamble she simply could not afford to take at this critical juncture in her life. Beyond the immediate commercial calculations, the reasons why the princess chose to grant this exclusive private audience reveal a deeply personal and touching motivation concerning the future of the British monarchy and her own maternal aspirations. At that specific moment in the mid-90s, her eldest son and the future heir to the British throne was navigating the challenging transition into his early teenage years, growing up under the same suffocating media spotlight that had caused his mother so much distress. The princess was fiercely protective of her children, constantly worrying about how the relentless pressure of public life would affect their psychological well-being and their ability to lead authentic, meaningful lives as adults. She looked across the Atlantic and developed a profound, enduring admiration for the way the American political scion carried himself in the public eye, managing to maintain an aura of dignity, warmth, and relative normalcy despite the immense tragedies and intense scrutiny that had defined his entire existence. She viewed him as the ultimate blueprint for how a modern prince should navigate the media age, and she desperately hoped her own son would grow up to inherit that exact same intelligence, poise, and effortless ability to handle the public gaze. This maternal admiration was an essential driving force behind her decision to sit down with the handsome editor, as she actively sought to understand his perspective and perhaps glean insights that she could pass down to the young teenage prince back in England. She openly expressed these thoughts to close confidants and prominent media figures in the weeks leading up to her tragic passing, noting that she wanted her son to develop the same sharp instincts and graceful handling of fame that the American icon displayed so effortlessly. By taking the meeting, she was not just evaluating a business proposal. She was conducting a personal observation of a man who had successfully conquered the very forces she feared would overwhelm her own children. She wanted to see if the reality matched the public perception, observing his manners, his conversational strategy, and his innate charm up close, viewing him as a living example of how to survive and thrive under the intense microscope of international celebrity culture. However, human motivations are rarely entirely singular or purely noble, and historical accounts from her closest aides suggest that a lighter, far more mischievous element also played a significant role in her decision to arrange the New York meeting. The charismatic American bachelor, who had recently been officially crowned by the global media as the sexiest man alive, was an object of intense fascination for millions of women worldwide, including members of the extended British royal family itself. Specifically, the princess's high-profile sister-in-law, who was equally famous for her tempestuous relationship with the media and the royal establishment, had long harbored a massive, well-documented admiration for the handsome political descendant. The relationship between the two royal sisters-in-law was famously complex, characterized by a mix of genuine camaraderie, shared trauma from marrying into the House of Windsor, and an undercurrent of intense social competition, according to detailed recollections from senior palace assistants. The opportunity to meet America's most eligible and desirable bachelor in total secrecy was an opportunity that the princess realized would provoke an immense wave of playful jealousy from her colorful sister-in-law. This element of subtle rivalry added a fascinating, humanizing dimension to the historical encounter, showing that even amidst the immense pressures of global fame, these individuals still engaged in the relatable dynamics of social posturing and personal amusement. The knowledge that she was sitting privately in a luxury Manhattan suite with a man who was a literal pin-up on her sister-in-law's wall undoubtedly brought a sharp sense of satisfaction and private amusement to the princess. It was a rare chance for her to play the media game on her own terms, enjoying the exclusive company of a global heartthrob while simultaneously advancing her broader strategic goals of building international connections independent of the traditional royal apparatus. This hidden motive highlights the playful, rebellious spirit that coexisted alongside her profound maternal anxieties, creating a multi-layered approach to a meeting that the public would have viewed through a much simpler, purely romantic lens. Meanwhile, the young editor's own social life during this period was the subject of endless international fascination, as his romantic history read like a definitive chronicle of 90s pop culture royalty. Long before he envisioned his political lifestyle magazine or met with European royalty, his effortless charm had captured the attention of some of the most influential and provocative cultural figures of the 20th century. Among his most high-profile and intensely whispered-about relationships was a brief but explosive romance during the late 1980s with the undisputed queen of pop music, a woman who defined the musical and visual landscape of the era. This short-lived connection between the ultimate political scion and the world's most provocative pop star represented a massive collision of distinct cultural worlds, generating an immense amount of retrospective commentary and analysis from their contemporaries. Decades later, during candid public conversations in the 21st century, the legendary singer would look back on this brief chapter with her characteristic bluntness, leaving no doubt about the intense physical attraction and lasting impression that the handsome bachelor left on everyone who crossed his path. Those who were part of the inner circle during that vibrant era, however, often described the relationship between the politician's son and the music icon in far more casual, grounded terms, stripping away the mythological layers created by the media. Close friends and confidants who contributed to comprehensive oral biographies of his life emphasized that despite the massive headlines it could have generated, the romance was ultimately a fleeting, low-stakes encounter that quickly burned out. It was characterized as a brief fling that occurred during a time when both individuals were exploring the heights of their respective powers, enjoying each other's company without any illusion of a long-term, serious commitment. This ability to engage with the world's most famous women while maintaining his own grounded perspective was a defining trait of the American prince, a quality that allowed him to move seamlessly between the worlds of Hollywood, Washington, and international royalty without losing his core identity. Ultimately, his chaotic and heavily scrutinized journey through the landscape of 90s romance would lead him to the woman who would become his permanent partner, a brilliant and impossibly chic fashion publicist who possessed a completely different kind of allure. Their subsequent marriage in 1996 would become the ultimate manifestation of Manhattan style and romance, though it was also plagued by the relentless, invasive tactics of the paparazzi, who hunted them across the city just as they hunted the British princess across Europe. The striking parallels between the struggles faced by the American couple and the British royal icon would become increasingly apparent as the decade progressed, creating an unspoken bond of shared suffering under the global